Welcome to this detailed explanation of the movie A Beautiful Mind, a captivating biographical drama based on the life of John Nash, a mathematical genius who battles schizophrenia while making groundbreaking contributions to the world of mathematics and economics. The movie begins in the early 1940s, introducing us to John Nash, portrayed by Russell Crowe, a brilliant and socially awkward young man arriving at Princeton University as a graduate student. Nash is determined to make a significant impact in the field of mathematics, striving for originality in his work. His intense focus and dedication soon isolate him from his peers, but his sharp intellect does not go unnoticed. Professors and fellow students alike recognize his exceptional ability to think outside the box. As Nash struggles to find a truly original idea, he becomes obsessed with discovering a revolutionary theorem that would establish him as a mathematical legend. His breakthrough comes when he conceives the concept of game theory, a mathematical framework to analyze competitive situations where the outcome depends on the actions of all participants. This idea later earns him the Nobel Prize in economics. During his time at Princeton, Nash forms friendships with other students, including Charles, who becomes his closest companion. He also meets Alicia, a kind and intelligent student who eventually becomes his wife. Their relationship evolves from friendship to love, portraying a deeply human side to Nash's life amid his academic pursuits. However, as Nash's career begins to flourish, his life takes a dark turn. He starts experiencing severe paranoia and hallucinations, seeing people and receiving messages that seem real to him but are figments of his mind. These delusions intensify, and Nash becomes convinced that he is being recruited by a mysterious government agent to work on top-secret espionage tasks. However, as Nash's career begins to flourish, his life takes a dark turn. He starts with me, and his behavior becomes erratic, leading to concern among his colleagues and Alicia. Eventually, Nash is hospitalized and diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, a condition characterized by delusions and hallucinations that distort reality. The diagnosis is a pivotal moment in the movie, highlighting the struggle between genius and mental illness. The film then follows Nash's arduous journey toward recovery. With the support of Alicia, he learns to distinguish between reality and delusion. Instead of relying heavily on medication, which dulls his intellect, Nash trains himself to ignore the hallucinations and focus on rational thought. His determination and the love of his wife play a central role in his gradual return to stability. Despite the challenges posed by schizophrenia, Nash continues his work in mathematics, gaining recognition for his contributions to game theory. In a heartwarming conclusion, the movie portrays Nash receiving the Nobel Prize in economics, validating his professional achievements and personal resilience. A Beautiful Mind not only sheds light on the complexity of mental illness, but also celebrates the power of love, persistence, and the human spirit. It emphasizes that genius and vulnerability often coexist, and with understanding and support, individuals can overcome tremendous obstacles. This inspiring story reminds us of the importance of compassion toward those struggling with mental health and the incredible strength of the human mind when faced with adversity. His behavior becomes erratic, leading to concern among his colleagues and Alicia. Eventually, Nash is hospitalized and diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, a condition characterized by delusions and hallucinations that distort reality. The diagnosis is a pivotal moment in the movie, highlighting the struggle between genius and mental illness. The film then follows Nash's arduous journey toward recovery. With the support of Alicia, he learns to distinguish between reality and. Welcome to this comprehensive explanation of the movie A Beautiful Mind, an inspiring and emotional biographical drama that tells the remarkable story of John Nash, a mathematical genius whose groundbreaking contributions to economics changed the world. Released in 2001 and starring Russell Crowe, this movie is based on the life of John Forbes Nash Jr., whose brilliance and struggles with schizophrenia captivated millions across the globe. John Nash was not an ordinary mathematician. From his early days, he was determined to make a significant mark in the academic world. The movie not only portrays his genius, but also highlights the painful challenges he faced because of mental illness. It stands as a powerful reminder of human resilience, the complexity of the mind, and the enduring power of love. In the next 2 hours, we will delve deep into the life of John Nash, from his early academic ambitions and the birth of game theory, through his descent into paranoia and hallucinations, to his eventual recovery and redemption. This story is not only about a mathematical genius, but about the human spirit's struggle to overcome the greatest obstacles. John Nash's journey begins in the early 1940s when he arrives at Princeton University as a young and ambitious graduate student. From the very beginning, Nash is portrayed as an introverted individual who is socially awkward and intensely focused on his work. His goal was clear: to discover a truly original idea that would establish his place in history. Unlike many of his peers, Nash wasn't interested in collaboration or following the well-trodden path of academic research. He sought to think differently. His determination to find something innovative set him apart, but also created isolation, making social interactions with fellow students particularly challenging. At Princeton, Nash's brilliance became evident when he started developing the revolutionary concept that would later become known as game theory. At Princeton, Nash's brilliance became evident when he started developing the revolutionary concept that would later become known as game theory. This theory, which analyzes decision-making in competitive situations, challenged traditional ideas of economics and became fundamental in understanding strategic behavior in various fields, from business to warfare. However, despite his intellectual success, Nash struggled to connect with others. His distant demeanor and intense focus on abstract mathematics left many around him puzzled. His life was a series of numbers, theories, and equations, leaving little room for emotional or social connections. During this time, Nash formed relationships with a few classmates, but his closest companion appeared to be a man named Charles. Charles seemed to be a loyal friend, always offering support and company. Meanwhile, Nash's relationship with Alicia Lard began to blossom, a bright, intelligent student who saw beyond his distant exterior to the man of depth and potential within. As his academic reputation began to rise, Nash was awarded fellowships and recognition. Yet, it became increasingly clear that something was amiss. He began experiencing subtle signs of mental instability, moments of paranoia, and the feeling of being watched. These symptoms would soon escalate, changing the course of his life. This is just the first part of the full script. Should I continue writing the next sections in the same detailed paragraph style, covering his love story, descent into schizophrenia, and eventual redemption step by step? Let me know if I should proceed like this or adjust the tone, length, or level of detail. At Princeton, Nash's brilliance became evident when he started developing the revolutionary concept that would later become known as game theory. This theory, which analyzes decision-making in competitive situations, challenged traditional ideas of economics and became fundamental in understanding strategic behavior in language. Download PDF.
Watch.
Edit. A Beautiful Mind is a 2001 American biographical drama film about the mathematician John Nash, who won a Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences, played by Russell Crowe. The film is directed by Ron Howard based on a screenplay by Akiva Goldsman, who adapted the 1998 biography by Sylvia Nassar. In addition to Crowe, the film's cast features Ed Harris, Jennifer Connelly, Paul Bettany, Adam Goldberg, Judd Hirsch, Josh Lucas, Anthony Rapp, and Christopher Plummer in supporting roles. The story begins in Nash's days as a brilliant but a social mathematics graduate student at Princeton University. After Nash accepts secretive work in cryptography, he becomes liable to a larger conspiracy and begins to question his reality. A Beautiful Mind 1947, John Nash arrives at Princeton University as a co-recipient, with Martin Hansen, of the Carnegie Scholarship for Mathematics. He meets fellow math and science graduate students Sol, Ainsley, and Bender, and his roommate Charles Herman, a literature student. Determined to publish an original idea of his own, Nash is inspired when he and his classmates discuss how to approach a group of women at a bar. Nash argues that a cooperative approach would lead to better chances of success, which leads him to develop a new concept of governing dynamics. His theory earns him an appointment at MIT, where he chooses Soule and Bender over Hansen to join him. In 1953, Nash is invited to the Pentagon to decipher encrypted enemy telecommunications. Bored with his work at MIT, he is recruited by the mysterious William Parcher of the United States Department of Defense with a classified assignment to identify hidden patterns in magazines and newspapers to thwart a Soviet plot. He is given an implanted diode that gives him a passcode to access a drop spot at a mansion. Nash becomes increasingly obsessive with his work and grows paranoid. Nash falls in love with a student, Alicia Lard, and they eventually marry.
Aft.
Dr. Rosen tells Alicia that Nash has schizophrenia and that Charles, Marcy, niece of Charles, and Parcher exist only in his imagination. Alicia, Soule, and Bender investigate her husband's study, which shows various news and magazine clippings. Alicia uncovers the stack of unopened, classified documents from the drop point and brings them to Nash, revealing the truth of his assignment. Overcome with shock, Nash slices his arm open to uncover the diode, which doesn't exist. Nash is given a course of insulin shock therapy and eventually released. Frustrated with the side effects of his antipsychotic medication, he secretly stops taking it. He encounters Parcher, who urges him to continue his assignment in a shed near his home. In 1956, Alicia discovers Nash has relapsed and rushes home. She finds that Nash had left their infant son in the running bathtub, convinced Charles was watching the baby. Alicia calls Dr. Rosen, but Nash accidentally hits her and the baby, believing he's saving them from Parcher. As Alicia flees with the baby, Nash realizes that all of them have looked the same ever since he first encountered them, in particular that Marcy has always remained a young girl, and concludes they must be hallucinations. Against Dr. Rosen's advice, Nash chooses not to be hospitalized again, believing he can deal with his symptoms himself with Alicia's support. Nash returns to Princeton, approaching his old rival Hansen, now head of the mathematics department, who allows him to work out of the library and audit classes. Over the next 2 decades, Nash learns to ignore his hallucinations and, by the late 1970s, is allowed to teach again. In 1994, Nash is awarded the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences for his work on game theory and is honored by his fellow professors. At the Stockholm ceremony, he dedicates the prize to his wife. Nash re-encounters Charles, Marcy, and Parcher after the ceremony, but ignores them as he, Alicia, and their son leave. A Beautiful Mind was the second schizophrenia-themed film that Ron Howard had planned to direct. The first, Laws of Madness, would have been based on the true story of schizophrenic Michael Lautier, who overcame difficult odds to graduate from Yale Law School. Howard purchased the rights to Lautier's life story for $1.5 million in 1995 and had Brad Pitt slated to play the lead role. However, after Lautier killed his fiancée in 1998 during a psychotic episode, plans for the movie were cancelled. 3-4. After producer Brian Grazer first read an excerpt of Sylvia Nassar's 1998 book A Beautiful Mind in Vanity Fair magazine, he immediately purchased the rights to the film. Grazer later said that many A-list directors were calling with their point of view on the project. He eventually brought the project to Ron Howard, his longtime professional partner. 5. Grazer met with many screenwriters, mostly consisting of serious dramatists, but he chose Akiva Goldsman because of his strong passion and desire for the project. Goldsman's creative take on the project was to avoid having viewers understand they are viewing an alternative reality until a specific point in the film. This was done to rob the viewers of their understanding and to mimic how Nash comprehended his experiences.
Subscribe to Cineplus Movie Channel. Like, share, or comment. Thank you.